Welcome to this edition of the Almost Abstract Outdoor and Nature Weekly News. My name's Rob Yates. I am one of the co-founders and one of your hosts tonight. And tonight we have the home to my stead, the sharpener to my knife, the sail to my boat, the Biden to my Trump, the Scotch to my bourbon, Mr. Mark Hopkins. Evening, Hoppy. How's the world?
The world is good because I'm cuddling a lovely glass of Cabernet Sauvignon. So I couldn't be happier.
Snob. Cabernet, I guess, yeah, that is a Biden drink, I suppose, probably. You've been out into the outdoors, into the bush over the past week. Tell the wonderful people, what have you seen, where have you been, and why should they be jealous of your Friday?
Oh, I went to... Well, first of all, I drove up to this beautiful little park and stayed the night where, as we were outside eating our food, you know when you're out the corner of your eye, you feel a movement. I look up into the tree. I'm going to balance my wine here. A bush baby climbed up in the tree, and the bush baby had really big eyes. And it was about this big, just started staring down. So a bush baby was about, I don't know, 1.5 meters away from me. That was pretty cool. And then the next morning, went into a park which is called Shashlui and Umfolozi, which is a big 5 park in South Africa. And as we drove in, within the first, 15 minutes, we saw 8 white rhino, all with their horns still intact. We saw a big herd of elephants of about 30 head, which was quite cool. We then saw buffalo, giraffe, zebra, impala, and then we took a little back road. And as we were cruising down this hill, we turned around a corner, and a young male lion and a lioness came walking straight towards the car and stopped about 2 meters from the vehicle.
What? Now, did you reach out? Did you reach out and stroke it?
Well, I gave it a little tickle. You know how some dogs, when you tickle the top of their tail? So I did that. That gave them... And you know when their back leg starts moving really quickly?
Yeah, you didn't get that far, did you?
No. Well, I'm sticking to my story.
Super cool. Well, my outdoor news for the week is I have been carving spoons with my penknife, and my new axe from Husqvarna. That's been my outdoor adventures of the week. I've drunk quite a lot of whiskey, and I've carved quite a lot of spoons and mallets. And here's the miracle, Mark. I've drunk quite a lot of whiskey, and I've been juggling sharp shit. And look, I've got all of my digits still remaining. That
is pretty impressive. And they're all yours. You haven't sewn anything back on?
Yeah, this one here is sewn back on. There was actually, I saw on Facebook this morning, there was a guy who's done his first hand carving thing using his penknife, and he's carved a canoe for his kid, which is pretty cool. And he's got the before picture, which is a lump of wood and his penknife, and then he's got the after picture, which is testing his now canoe in the water. And the noticeable difference is the quantity of band-aids, plasters, and electrical tape and strapping he has around the ends of all his fingers. It's 7 out of 10 have got plasters or strapping down to beneath the middle of the finger. So it's actually a miracle that I've got all my digits still remaining. Anyway, enough about us.
By the way, just a quick question. Do you know what type of wood are you using to carve to create your spoons and stuff?
So the answer is the current piece of wood I'm using is from a bay tree that produces bay leaves. Because I'm on lockdown in South Africa and I can't leave to go and get the wood that I would normally want to get. Given the choice, I would use silver birch to carve with, given the choice. That's quite hard to find in South Africa, and because it needs to be green, it needs to ideally have just you chop a limb off the tree and carve your spoon from that. And so silver birch is quite hard to find in South Africa, and B, I'm not allowed to leave where I am really to go find it. So I hacked a limb off the bay leaf tree in my garden.
Share more practical, insightful information, please, for the rest of this podcast.
Okay, no worries. So we're going to start tonight's article with an article from CBS Local in Miami, which is all about the favorite camping meals for when you go out into the outdoors next. Now, you know, Mark, we always say the same thing. They could have had a better title, and frankly, they should just have paid us to write it in the first place, right?
Exactly. And then that article is, like, if you read the article, I'm imagining that their car is full of ingredients and their backpack has nothing in it but ingredients, because some of the stuff that they've got in there, it would take a Michelin star kitchen to have all the facilities that's needed to cook this stuff.
Well, and not just that, one of the first images I've got to is the image of quite a large cast iron frying pan with some bacon, mushrooms and eggs. Now, I've done a lot of backpacking, and I happen to own, because I'm into this sort of thing, I happen to own quite a lot of like cast iron pots and Dutch ovens and frying pans and griddles and steak pans and whatever else. And well, this guy's got like 4 eggs and about 6 rashers of bacon, a whole bunch of maybe 8 rashers of bacon, a whole bunch of mushrooms in there and other stuff, which means that that pan is bigger than your average dinner plate. Now, I'm ever so sorry, but favorite backpacking food, like, are we doing paper, rock, scissors for who's carrying the heavy shit? I mean...
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
So I do think you're right. This is more of a glamping article, like how much shit can you put in the back of your truck, drive to a campsite, and then, like, I've often wondered this. Have you ever thought about this? If you put loads of shit in the back of your truck and opened up the back door, drove fast, and then slammed on the brakes, whether all the shit in the back of your truck would, like, self-eject out the back of your truck and you've unpacked then?
Apart from you have no eggs ever for the rest of your holiday.
Well, now, if you go back and watch one of my videos I've done on YouTube about cooking in the outdoors, I actually have a hack for you for taking eggs with you and putting them in a vessel and being able to play American football with that vessel, and the eggs still survive.
There we go. That's a good plug.
But I do know that the thing flying out the back of the vehicle must work, because I've done that being sat in my kayak on the top of a truck where they've reversed really quickly to the water's edge and slammed on the brakes. And then I've just, like, the kayak's taken off the back of the truck and carried on going. So, like,
you stay in the kayak?
Yeah, of course. So unpacking your truck must be really that simple. Get to where you want to camp, like, make a bit of space, undo the back doors and the back of your truck and the canopy, drive fast, slam on the brakes, all your crap self-ejects.
And imagine if you had one of those, you know, those big pop-up tents. As that thing lands, it unclips and there's your tent done.
It could be a bit like, you know, you get the, when a NASA space shuttle lands, the big parachute comes out the back to slow it down.
Yeah.
Like a self-deploying tent that you, like, throw a little parachute out of the side window as you're herring along. And it comes out the back and, like, pops up and drops into place, just ready for you to go and stick a few pegs in. Done. Anyway.
I think we've come up with something.
I think it's amazing. In fact, next time I go camping, I'm going to do a, what's it called? A Benny Hill. I'm going to do one of those moments. A Benny Hill moment to unpack my 4x4. So this article, I do want to talk, like, semi-seriously about this article, even though they must have a food truck going with them to make this food. Because it is that I think that people should and can eat a lot better when they go hiking than most people do. I don't think you need to eat dehydrated stuff out of a plastic packet that you pour hot water with and just mix. I think with a bit of thought, a bit of preparation, a bit of planning, that actually you can eat like a king for a couple of weeks, or a queen, of course, in Mark's case, a couple of weeks. Ooh, low blow. I do think you can act like a king or eat like a king or a queen for a few weeks with a bit of thought and planning. and I don't think you need a food truck to do it. And I don't know. What's your favourite food, Mark, when you're out camping?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. Like, I always take like dried meat because it lasts for such a long time and you can add it into so many different dishes. I love taking risotto because I love risotto because it fills you up. It's really warm and comforting with a nice stock cube and stuff. Little snacks. Tuna is one of my favourite things in the bush. Steak. I like you said, I think too often we go and buy those crappy hiking packet shit that you just put some water in. And you know that it was made in China 25 years ago and it's just sat there and you're like going, this stuff is just killing my insides. So I hate that. I've never bought and will never buy one of those hiking packet crap shit. I'll tell you how I really feel soon.
Yeah. So like, don't mess around with this. If you're going to give it some beans, like give it full. Eric, by the way, really likes the idea of a self-set-up campsite. I think, Eric, that we should go and give it a go. And Corey says that I should go and do a YouTube video on how to construct your own raft. Don't know where that came from, but there we go. And Eric wants to agree with you 100%. And I think what he means about is the crap shit food.
Oh, it just tastes wrong. It's got fake crap in it. It's probably got bat in it, let's be honest.
Well, if it's come from China, it's likely to have bat or any one of the other colourful diseases that they're having at this point in time, like the Black Death, the plague. You know, they've got that floating around there at the moment. Anyway, so that's cool. Right, okay, so we've all agreed that. I'm a big fan of steak. On my first night out on a long hike, I like to take steak. There we are. That's a little thing that I like to take. And I like to take single malt whiskey as well, because you get massive bang for your buck on the booze front if you take whiskey with you. That's a bit of a foodie thing that I like as well.
Good job.
So, moving on from that one shit article that really they should have got us to write for them, we're now moving in to a established brand that we're going to go and slate anyway, which is Forbes magazine. Let's go for the big guns. Imaginatively, Wendy, the lady who's written this, has called this article Top Gear for Adventuring Outdoors. Now, all I can see now is Jeremy Clarkson running around with a Gore-Tex jacket on and a gas stove in the outdoors. But what do you think this article could be about, Mark?
I don't think it's about 4x4 vehicles.
No.
But it's also a really, really shit article. It's just craply written. It gives you no information. Like the best sleeping bag system with a stupid photo of somebody, actually it's the author, wrapped up, jumping around in the sleeping bag. It's just stupid. Big Agnes. It's just crap. I don't like any article that doesn't give you a top tip, a medium tip, and a bottom tip. You know, just give you a little bit of variety. This one is just a shit article.
Yeah, because if you're going to go and buy a sleeping bag, for instance, you can have this one will cost you $400, this one will cost you $150, and this one you can get a used one that's really, really good and really warm from the military surplus store or whatever you call it, and you can get that for $40 and actually give people some choices. And all this is really is she's sponsored by all these brands. And all this article really is saying, hey, I'm sponsored by these brands and you should buy their stuff.
It's just proper crap. And she goes, Big Agnes makes something for everyone. Well, I'm not everyone. I don't want to have something that's for everyone. An expandable mummy bag, kids bag, bags with different cut for women's bodies, and even a double wide system built for two people. So basically what they're saying is, we don't actually know who we're selling it to, so we're going to come up with a million different products and hope somebody buys something. It's a
Yes.
really good strategy.
Yes. Right, let's move on. Forbes magazine, if you want some great writers with some imagination, some creativity who can give genuine, real advice, and probably will still slag their own content off, to be honest, we're here for you, and we're just waiting for the email, right? Address below.
Well, I'm not letting you get away with this, but I've got a top gear for adventuring outdoors, okay? The fourth thing she recommends is the best athletic swimsuit. Are you shitting me? That's the fourth thing that you can think about, a athletic swimsuit. And guess what? I'm going to read this one because this is brilliant. Whether you're surfing, paddling, bridge jumping, or whitewater rafting, you'll need a suit that stays in place, okay? Enter Nike. Seriously, that's all the advice she gives you. Enter Nike. My gosh. Not which what it's just crap. Performance suits come in a variety of colours, cuts, and styles. Anyway, it is one of the worst articles I've ever had the displeasure of wasting my life reading.
So if you would like to see Mark wearing a Nike female cut swimsuit, preferably a red bikini from Baywatch would be right up my street. If you want to see Mark wearing one of those, pop it in the comments below. And we're going to set up a series called Challenge Mark in the next 6 months. And maybe the first challenge could be Mark in a bikini. Who knows?
What a challenge, hey?
Next article. Now, I have to admit, I actually quite like the next article because it seems to have some real sensible, like, do this and don't do that. And here's a great way of doing it, which is about how to cook on a campfire safely. It's done in partnership with the National Fire Protection Association. Quite like that. And it talks of the fact that summer's coming. Lots of people are going to go to the parks. They're going to have grills. They're going to have outdoor fires. And what to go and do with it. Just in Grimes County alone, the other year, they burnt through mini fires, campfires that they were cooked on that weren't put out properly and weren't managed properly. They burnt down 5,280 acres of land and destroyed 30 homes. So I kind of think that this sort of article is really, really, really useful. My question is with these sorts of articles is, are we really speaking to the right people? The person who's going to spend the time to read this article probably already is like you and I, Mark, and knows how to cook on a fire, do it safely, and not burn down the forest.
Yeah, I agree. Because you look at some of the stuff, and when you read an article and you're going, the fact that someone's gone to the effort to write this article means there's some proper thick human beings in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's I just like the fact that he even say have a water hose connected to a facet. It's like the fact they have to say connected scares the crap out of me. Make sure the gas grill lid is open before lighting it. Like, which stupid person is going to light something in a contained area? Right? It's just, if you smell gas while cooking, immediately get away from the fire. You can just imagine someone, when it's cooking, putting their head into the fire to smell it even closer.
I know. Oh, they have a problem and they get their phone out and they start Googling what they should do.
Or they lean into the fire to smell it while smoking a fag. That's another classic.
I actually saw a guy today, classically in the South African petrol station, stood talking to the guy who was filling up his car with a cigarette hanging out the corner of his mouth while the guy's filling up his car with gas. I'm like, yeah, you're a genius.
Yeah, they're awesome. But I agree, this is a really well-written article, but I think they need to think about how do they get this message to the thick people who actually need to see it.
I've got something really, really, really useful for people with regards to fires. Especially fires in woodland or wooded areas in the summertime. So there's two things. Firstly, I've learnt over the years that the heat from a fire conducts along, in particular, pine trees or coniferous trees. The heat actually conducts along the root system of coniferous trees. So if you're having a fire in an area with lots of piney type trees around you, be very, very careful that heat isn't actually leaving your safe fire area and actually moving 15, 20, or even 50 yards away from where you are actually having your fire. And we found this out in Norway, where we're in a pine forest on an expedition. We're camping for the night, and suddenly smoke started coming up out of the ground about 30 yards away from where our campfire was. And it was, when we traced it back and felt all the root systems, you could feel the heat going from where the fire was into the root and then moving along the root system. So that's a really useful thing that I've learned. And secondly, just how much water it takes to properly put out a fire before you leave your fire, especially a fire on the ground, how much water it takes either at night before you go to bed, ideally, or the following morning. It takes a lot more than you think it does. So those are my 2 top tips with regards to fires and not letting them spread.
Good. I think that's very top tips, very practical. See, listen to this podcast, but again, we are speaking a little bit. That's quite a good tip, but we are speaking a little bit to the converted. If you listen to this, I'm hoping you've got half a brain cell.
Yes. To be a tribe member, you have to have half a brain cell. Jennifer Morris says, also, dried pine needles go up really quick. Great to help start a fire, but, it can ignite quickly if you're not responsible. Maybe sparks could fly. Corey says you'd be surprised how many idiots there are out there. The whole state of, I think that's Arizona, is on fire. Often ends up on fire due to negligence. And he was saying that the bushfires get so hot that the fire can be felt a mile away. And Eric says, yes, don't be a dick, put your fire out. There we are.
Yeah.
Tribe members.
That should be a new catchphrase. Don't be a dick, put your fire out.
Don't be a dick. I just like don't be a dick. I think that should be a... Corey's now backtracked and it might have been 1/4 of a mile away. It was a good distance anyway. Magical. Yeah. Thanks, Corey. Remind me when we go hiking not to listen to your distances when I come hiking. Because if you tell me it's 1/4 of a mile, it might be a mile or vice versa. So either I'm going to be pleasantly surprised or quite pissed off, one or the other. It's all right, Rob. It's only a 1/4 mile to the car at the end of the day. And I'm like, oh, that's good. And then we're still walking in like 10 minutes later. I'm like, oh, my word. Corey, what have you done to me? Anyway. Now, the next article, Mark, you've chosen this, is how to help wildlife stay cool without interference. Now, personally, I think that if wildlife wants to stay cool, they should have a We Get Outdoors hat. That's it, done.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine that, this little bird flying around with a We Get Outdoors hat.
That's it. In fact, actually, I'll tell you what. We're going to come up with a competition, Mark, because I happen to have a spare brand new We Get Outdoors hat that isn't yours because I haven't given you yours yet. We're going to come up with a competition in the next 2 weeks where I'm going to mail this to somebody when they win the competition. What do you reckon?
Do you know what I think we should do? I think we should ask the listeners now what the competition should be in order to win a hat. So if you're listening now, put a comment on what do you think is a worthwhile competition to win a We Get Outdoors hat.
Oh, great idea. Stick it in the comments in our Facebook group, the We Get Outdoors Tribe. If you want to go join it, by the way, and you're watching this on YouTube, completely free of charge, go there. Check out some of the best outdoor photography and inspirational places to go from across the whole world. It's only for people who aren't dicks. So I'm sure that's most of you. So put in the comments what competition you'd like us to win to have this branded We Get Outdoors hat. We'll run the competition and the winner I'll send this to, and second and third places we'll do buffs or something like that for them. What do you reckon?
That's a great idea. I'm going to put my buff on now. I'm that cool.
I'm going to put all my swag on. So Mark, how else do they advise that we help wildlife stay cool?
Again, you know when you sometimes read an article where all you want to do is go, no shit, Sherlock. They talk about putting a bird bath in your garden. That's really insightful. So a bird bath, which I would have never thought about on my own. And they say watering plants in the morning so insects and other animals can catch the water droplets. Placing rocks in the water can access it without drowning, as well as putting a frozen water bottle wrapped in a cloth outside for squirrels to lean up against. So there you go, some top practical tips of how to look after wildlife without interference. What else could you think of?
Well, I don't know. I'm just looking at the comments of people who think that we should run a competition on stuff. Jennifer Morris says, I'm all COVID-proof now, by the way. I'm coronavirus-proof. I've got my my buff, Week Outdoors buff on, my hat. Here we go. Right, let's go. Jennifer Morris says, best photo. Eric takes that another step further and says, best flower photo. I think the best flower photo it should be.
The best flower photo?
Yeah, the best outdoor flower photo. Judged by yourself and myself, so we promise to be completely biased and make really shit decisions. I'm fogging up.
So that's what we'll do. Anyone else now, we'll give them to the end of the podcast. They can add any more questions or comments, any more ideas. And at the end of it, so you've got about 10 minutes left to come up with any more ideas, and then we'll come up with the competition now.
Now, on the subject of pictures, Mark, you always pick our We Get Outdoors Tribe picture of the week. Who is it this week?
I'm very grateful that you give me this opportunity every week. I'd just like to say publicly, thank you very much for allowing me to pick the photo every week. It's the highlight of my week.
Oh, that's so nice. It's my pleasure.
So this one was just a photo because I've never ever, haven't seen this before. And when you look at a photo and go, Photoshop, there has to be a Photoshop on this one. But this is, and I apologize if I pronounced your name wrong, but I think it's Lainey Thompson. And she has submitted such a cool pic of fishing rod with a bird perched on the fishing rod. It's just one of those moments where you look at, when you're scrolling through Facebook and then something makes you stop. That's what I look for. I look for photos that make me stop my track and go, what is that photo? So go and have a look now at Lainey Thompson and her photo of the fishing rod and the bird perched on a fishing rod. Have you ever seen a bird perched on a fishing rod?
I don't think I have.
I think it's a really cool photo. I'm trying to work out how she did it because it's quite a close-up. That's why I think it looks Photoshoppy. That you're holding the rod with a bird perched on the rod and you're taking a photo with your phone. I think it's quite clever as well, to be honest. Maybe it's a pet bird they've trained so well to pose.
Who knows? Who knows? Jennifer says, we've lost you completely, Mark. No, we've still lost you completely, Mark. Jennifer says, how do we submit for the photo of the week? The answer is, Jennifer, you put your photos in there, and if you want Mark to notice it, go tag him in to the picture if you want Mark to notice it. Eric says, yep, beautiful pic. So yeah, Jennifer, if you want to submit photos for picture of the week, you put it up in the group, write a little description, and if you want to stack the cards in your favor, the more you tag Mark into, he'll just get frustrated with his Facebook stream being completely blocked up with your pictures, and then he'll have no choice but to award that to you. And
use the hashtag pick of the week.
Oh, hashtag pick of the week. That'll make our life easier when we go to find them. And I'm going to send a buff to next week's winner. There we go. Oh, I'm getting hot. Wow. Right. Last but not least.
If you want to enter the competition for the hat, then you're going to have to use the hashtag WeGetOutdoorsHat.
Okay. You're lots of rules. Remind me of that when we'll chat tomorrow, Mark, and we'll go and put up something about that. Cool. Last but not least, the last thing we want to share is the most ungrateful mammal on the planet. There's a video of a moose being rescued. This was on Facebook, and it's got, by the looks of it, a crane or a forklift truck or something like that, winching this moose out of a gully with water flowing through it. And this animal is so grateful afterwards when it gets out and gets set free. It then attacks the guy who's videoing and taking pictures of him.
I love it. I just love it. You know, you literally, you know, those moments where you've achieved something. You're so you feel that sense of relief that you've done something good in the world, and the next minute that thing turns on you and just gets pissed off. I love it. I was laughing and laughing and laughing.
And we've all had that happen. I had a friend of mine who had a dog that got stuck in a fence. It was an Alsatian or a German Shepherd dog, one or the other, and it's got its head stuck in like that square fencing that you get on farms, you know, where it's like square blocks. Yeah. And we were hiking, and my friend set it free, and the dog bit him. But Corey says it's all right because he's heard moose meat tastes good. And Corey, I have had some moose meat, and it does taste really, really good, especially, cooked right, low and slow is how I like my moose meat. Anyway, that brings us to the end of this week's...
What's it taste like?
Like a gamey beef.
Okay.
Yeah. It's nice. Just like a venison. Have you had venison?
Okay. Yeah, it's beautiful. Nice gamey.
Yeah, like venison. It's quite. It's not very fatty though. It generally tends to be quite a clean meat, which is fine unless you need the fat for energy. But that's a whole different story for a whole different day about homesteading in Alaska. Whole different thing. So here we come to the end of this week's news. Mark, do you have any epiphanies to share with our wonderful audience before I go and have another whiskey?
Just if you know anybody who wants a decent and entertaining outdoor article written, please get in touch with us, because we're getting in. So we do get a little bit frustrated having to talk about crap. There's been a lot of crap on the news this week, like really crap articles.
Yes. So that, and lastly, but not least, go and check out the two live, the videos we've done recently, which are pinned at the top of the group, or you'll find them in YouTube. It's like the Business of the Outdoor series. If you're interested in how the outdoors work, it works in terms of making money, how most 99.9% of the outdoor people get it wrong and have great ideas, great passionate things that they want to go and do, but remain broke their entire lives, and our take on how you need to do it differently based on my 30 years experience of working in the outdoors. Go check those out as well. Out of idle curiosity, if nothing else. Or if not, join us on Tuesday next week, where we'll be doing another live webinar to do with setting up an outdoor business or adventure business that can be more successful beyond your wildest dreams without screwing the planet up or screwing over other people at the same time. So go check that out. That's it from me. Thanks for joining us. Stay awesome.
Bye-bye.